Welcome back to Time Out with J and G. It's Jay over here. It's G over there.
Yo, what is going on, everyone?
And today we have a very fun episode. But before we get into all that, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. I do have a new mic set up here, so if it sounds kind of weird this first episode, I guess I'll wait and see how it sounds on the recording, and then we'll kind of go from there. What I got to do to adjust it, or if it's just good how it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, how was your day at work today?
It was all right. Nothing too special. I had to go help my dad put in two windows after work, so
That's fun. That's always
that
fun.
was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
How about you?
Well,
How'd the video recording go?
oh, good, good. Yeah, before we jumped in here, I recorded my video for Friday, tomorrow, as you're seeing this. So another rebuild. So just be on the lookout for that Cloud 2K, and also be on the lookout for Garbage Man putting in his stuff. You know what we got here? What's your upload schedule looking like?
Um, Whenever I get a chance.
Wow.
I don't really have a set schedule. It's hard to find time to actually record.
No, I get that. I get that. I understand that. It took me until I moved out when I was able to actually record consistently, and it's been about a year now. So hell yeah, it's been fun. So go check my channel out for basketball content. Go check out Levi's channel for college football content. And anyway, you guys saw the title of the video. The report came out like a week or two ago that there's a possibility that the next superstar to get traded could be Ja Morant. Now, there's also real talks that now Kevin Durant might get moved in the offseason because they didn't move him at the trade deadline, and he feels kind of slighted by that. But, even though, like, we're going to talk about Ja Morant today. Now, the GM of the Grizzlies did come out and say, hey, like, we're not really interested in trading Ja Morant, but, like, I feel like that's something you just kind of say to kind of smooth over the rumors, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we decided we were going to come in here with 3 trades each for Ja Morant. And we're going to see if we can figure out the best market, best trade for Ja Morant. Right?
Right.
Right. But before we get into that today, Levi said he wanted to talk about something NFL related. So go ahead.
Everyone knows the NFL Combine starts tonight or today as you're watching this. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a fan of the Combine. I'm really not a fan of it. Abdul Carter, I believe he is skipping the Combine because I think of a shoulder injury or something to that effect. And I seen on, it was Twitter, but it got me a little pissed off to where people just like, oh, well, he should drop out of the top 10 for that. And I'm just like, one, he's trying to make sure he doesn't, injure himself even more. And two, what is the Combine anymore? I'm going to be honest, Combine is just a dog and pony show. That's all it is anymore. I mean, like, could there be some guys that get the attention and rise up on the boards? Yeah, it's possible. But all too often have we seen it through the years to where it's just a market for analysts and media personalities to just put someone up on a pedestal that doesn't deserve, I shouldn't say deserve to be there because these are all fantastic athletes, but they push a player that, like, for example, Will Levis, second, third round quarterback, everyone had him believing he was going top 5.
Yeah.
It's just a platform that, like, a person like Mel Kiper uses to just have very, very incorrect draft analysis sometimes, and it pisses me off because John Ross. Remember John Ross? He ran like that insane 40-yard dash.
Yeah, he was one of the fastest for a long time.
Yeah. Where's he now?
Yeah, I don't even
Because
know.
I think he's only like 27, 28.
Mm-hmm.
Where's he now?
That's a great question, actually.
Exactly. I don't even know if he's in the league right now. A perfect example is that you could have a guy that is he could do basic fundamental drills to a T, but you put him out on the field, don't get much anything. And for
John Ross. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
And for some of these top guys that we already know are going first round or bona fide first round, why are we doing this? I'm a fan of Pro Day. Don't get me wrong. Pro Day, I think, is different from the Combine for the aspect that Pro Day, you get NFL teams going to college campuses, and you have them looking at multiple players that are seniors or trying to get to the NFL. I am cool with Pro Days because it's that individual college saying, hey, come look at these guys. Okay, well, we have a few extra guys that you should look at. I like the idea of Pro Day, but Combine is like, okay, well, subjectively, we'll take the top 350 and we'll just put them through drills and just let, everyone just gawk at them. It's just like, what are we doing? And also, what does it matter what your vertical leap is for an offensive lineman.
Mm.
What does it matter what does it matter with some of the shit that is out there for these offensive linemen? Or like what does it matter how much a safety can bench press?
Mm.
Or a running back, like what does it matter? So, like
I did pull it up. John Ross is a Super Bowl champion. He had 1 catch for 6 yards this season for the Eagles.
There you go.
And before that, he had 11 catches for 224 yards in 2021 for the Giants. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
Shout out to John Ross for Super Bowl champion.
Has in what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years that he played, 63 catches for 963 yards and 11 touchdowns in 6 years.
Yep, and he had one of the best 40-yard dashes.
4.22.
A 4.22. I thought it was around a 4.22, but
yep,
that's just the whole thing. I don't know. It just pisses me off. The Combine utterly pisses me off. But if you're a fan of the Combine, watch it. But no, I just...
I mean, I understand the idea of, like, you get to get all the best players in this draft class. I mean, really all the players in the draft class together to just kind of... I think it's more for, like, the skill aspect of, like, getting these guys that are projected to go 4 through 7 and just a chance for NFL scouts to get real eyes on them. I mean, obviously they're not in pads, so it's like what you can do in shorts is different from what you can do in pads. But it does give guys a chance to be like, listen, you guys weren't really seeing me much in college. You can see me get out here. I can throw my routes, or I can run my routes. You know what I mean? I think it does give some guys an advantage of like getting some eyes on them. But yeah, like I said, physicals are important when it comes to football. Like you said, the idea of safety bench pressing or like a vertical leap for a lineman isn't really anything that a lot of people are worried about. But I mean, you do get the 3-cone shuttle drills for linemen. You get to see how they can move on their feet. You can see how they, I think it does have its advantages and get to just see what kind of raw athletes you're dealing with, because I think raw athletes are guys you can more easily develop and kind of mold into a skill set. Like, it's like if I take an offensive lineman that maybe isn't polished right now, but is a pure raw athlete, I can kind of mold him to what I want him to be versus a guy that's a guard in college. It's not really athletic. He's just a technical guard. It's like, okay, he could be a fine, guard in the league, but you don't really have the ability to kind of move him around the line because he's kind of only built for one. You know what I mean? So I do think just being able to see guys' raw athleticism is a good way to kind of gauge the kind of ceiling they may have and the versatility they could have.
Absolutely, I see that point, and I know I'm beating a dead horse because I said it earlier, but like, I think it was Michael Turk was a former punter for Oklahoma, went to the NFL Combine. You know what his bench press was?
How many?
22 reps. As a punter.
Hell yeah, man! Shout out him.
Shout out him.
Getting that shit down.
Absolutely, he strong as shit, but it's just like, what does that matter for a punter? Like, well, yeah, cool. Our punter can, do 22 reps, but like, what does that matter if you're punting a ball?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I just got distracted because I just saw a tweet from Stephen A. Smith that says "Rip Centel." I don't know if you know, but earlier today, NBA Centel got packed up by Twitter.
No.
Yep. We don't know if they're coming back, so rip Centel, but just seeing Stephen A. Smith make that tweet just kind of caught me off guard and made me laugh there for a second.
I wonder what they got caught for, or like, I wonder why they got booted.
I don't know. It seemed like everybody kind of was under the understanding that, that what he was or what they were of a parody account, but yeah, I just saw that.
The name is literally different.
Well, a lot of people do not catch that. You see a lot of people in the comments. I mean, some people are trolling along with it, but there's definitely some people that have gotten caught by it.
There was that one ESPN personality.
Oh, maybe that's why they got caught, because it just happened. Who was that? Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and there was I thought I saw someone on Twitter about Luka jerseys being banned, and it was just like, dude.
Yeah, I can see his face too. What the hell is his name?
And I don't want to say the wrong name.
No, I know who you're talking about, but I completely have blanked on what that guy's name was.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that was okay. All right. Well,
Sorry,
R.I.P.
shout out Sento. I just had to get that
Yep.
out there.
No, I just don't like the kind of idea of the combine is not bad. It's just how the NFL has been executing it, in my opinion. But
Right.
that's that's my
Are you more in
opinion.
favor of like pro days?
Yes, I am
Okay.
more in favor of pro days because I do understand the aspect of you want to get the best guys to compete against each other. But I'm sorry, but most of these guys are 3 or 4 year players. Most of
Mm.
these guys have at least 2 years of starting degree under their belt.
Yeah.
From 2 years in college, 2+ more years of starting in college, you should be able to get everything you need to know for the most part.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. Now there are certain people like Joe Burrow who I believe only had the 1 year starting at LSU, and he went
Mm.
absolutely nuts. But if he has 2, 3, 4 years starting, you should be able to gather all the information you need just from going back and watching his clips. And then if you're really interested, go to his pro day.
Mm.
Because then let's just say, oh well, we really like this quarterback, but hey, here's his wide receiver. You know, he was in some of the film and everything, but hey, he's running a 3 cone pretty good. He's running a 40 pretty good. He's got good cutting for the routes. Let's take him, in like the 5th, 6th round, and then there you go. A guy that probably wasn't going to get drafted now gets bumped up.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying. I do think pro days are an easier way to kind of hone in. Like if like I said, you want to go to a school for a quarterback, but you get to see all the seniors play. You get to see, you know what I mean? I do think it's an easier way to kind of hone in on prospect that you want versus a combine. I just think, like I said, the combine is just a way to. I think it gets a lot more people attention at the combine because you do have combine heroes. Do they always pan out? Most of the time, no, not really. But at least gets them attention. It gets them maybe even drafted if they weren't really going to be drafted in the first place.
I understand that aspect of it. And for the guys that can do that and they come out of nowhere and just post an insane combine, I just shout out to them.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to them. If it gets them from like a 4th round to a 2nd round, or if it gets them undrafted to a 5th rounder or 6th rounder, or hell, even gets them from 4th round to the 1st round, shout out to them. But it's just like, I just think for the systematic part of it, I prefer pro days a lot more.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Is there anything else you want to talk about with the combine? Anybody you're looking forward to seeing?
Not really. I'm kind of just excited for the draft. I'm gonna be honest.
Hell yeah, me too.
I think
What did the Steelers take in first round?
I'm hoping for a wide receiver or a
Okay.
line.
Okay.
Wide receiver or offensive tackle.
Hell yeah, Ashton Genty, welcome to Dallas. Anyway.
Well, I want. I mean, it looking like the Bears might take Genty at 10.
They have a couple okay running backs, kind of, I guess.
I've seen hey, there's just a couple mocks that I've been seeing throughout the off season so far that the Bears might be taking Genty at 10.
I'm sure they'd like that, wouldn't they?
They probably would.
Anyway, are you going to just go ahead and jump into these Ja Morant trades?
Yep. Oh, I'm just going to tell you this now. I do have 3. My first one is going to be more of a little like unrealistic, but then it's going to scale up.
Okay. So I mean, when it comes to Ja Morant, I don't know if either one of us really have an idea, or if really anybody knows the value that Ja Morant has right now, because we know at a peak healthy version of Ja Morant is one of the best guards in the entire NBA. But the past 2 years, it's been injuries, and this year just not been quite as good. I think a lot of that goes on Taylor Jenkins and the offense that the Grizzlies are running, where it's now a lot of the actions are running more through Jaren Jackson Jr. versus Ja Morant. And there's sometimes I watch and it looks like Ja Morant just kind of isn't really interested. He's kind of just getting pushed to the corner, and it's I don't know if he's I don't want to say he's upset with it, because obviously we don't know, but I do see the ball is there's been multiple sessions I watched where Ja Morant just doesn't touch the ball, and it's kind of crazy when you have one of the when healthy, one of the better players in the league that just really seemed like he got phased out of the offense. Now you could also hope that he's able to develop the off-ball ability more, that he could kind of run with this kind of team, but I just don't. It's not really what Ja Morant's been. Ja Morant's always been a super pick and roll kind of guy. And when he had Steven Adams there, I mean, nobody really set better screens in the NBA than Steven Adams does. So him having Steven Adams pick and roll made it so easy for him to get into the paint. And obviously, we know Ja Morant, when he gets into the paint, is something to something to marvel at. You know what I mean? And like last night, I think it was last night, he went like 0 for 8 on 3. Like I watched those couple sessions, bro. He just kept like he couldn't hit a shot, a field goal. Like he had I think 12 or 14 free throws and he hit them all, but like he just from the floor was just not good. It just seemed like he was just kind of jogging up and down the court. He would just catch it and just put up a three. It was not a great game from Ja Morant last night, and or I guess 2 nights ago as you're watching this, but. I don't know if I want to say he is going to get traded. I definitely think there's going to be some type of change of like either get him involved more or maybe it is Taylor Jenkins getting fired. I don't think he should be fired, but sometimes these things just kind of happen. Like it's like you got to make your star player happy or your coach happy, and a lot of times teams are going to pick their star players. So I don't know. It's a weird situation over there in Memphis, and like for a team that's a 2 seed, I don't think anybody's really taking them that serious in the Western Conference, which is kind of like weird because they're just a win by committee team. And usually those win by committee teams don't really make it far because they don't have that number one guy, or at least a guy that they have one number one guy, but he's just not really playing like it. So, and I just want to go on that tangent to just kind of put some defense to Ja Morant and what's also been happening. So, if you want to go ahead and start with your first one, let's go.
All right, so my first one is a little bit unrealistic. It is the Bucks trading Damian Lillard to the Grizzlies for Ja Morant and Zach Edey.
Oh my!
Yeah.
So at this point in time, you think Dame has more value than Ja Morant?
Arguably, yes.
Okay.
I'm not saying definite. I'm saying it's arguably that.
All right, walk me through this. Let me hear about this.
Okay, so the Bucks, obviously, Damian Lillard is a little on the older side. He did have a good year.
So is the rest of the team.
Well, yeah, but Ja Morant is like what 25?
Yeah, maybe 26 now.
25, 26. He's going to bring a little bit of youth to that team. Trying to rejuvenate a little bit more. And we all know Ja Morant, he likes attacking the paint. He likes being he likes being a high flyer. I think inserting him is going to kind of rejuvenate this offense a little bit because, I mean, we know what Damian Lillard can do. He can shoot threes, he can pass, he can do all that. But I think Ja Morant has more of an explosiveness to it. And then Zach Edey is just, we don't know how long Brook Lopez is going to be in the league. Let's be honest.
Bro. The way he took basically the game-winning shot last night, it was like fucking 6 feet from behind the three-point line. It was disgusting. I don't know what the hell he was thinking. But I hate the idea of a front court of Giannis and Zach Edey. I do not like the sound of that. Like it just sounds because Zach Edey's not getting out of the way. At least with Brook Lopez, he can stand 30 feet away. Like he might not hit the shot, but he can stand 30 feet away from the paint. Where Zach Edey standing in the corner, nobody gives a shit about that.
Zach Edey has hit a couple threes. I will say that.
That doesn't mean people are going to guard him.
Hey, no one guards him. That's an easy corner three. He makes that, then it's kind of like, okay, well, we kind of have to guard him now.
No. Zach Edey would have to hit 10 threes before I guard him. I'm sorry. If we lose because Zach Edey hits 10 threes on me, then it is what it is. It just is what it is at that point in time. Because if Giannis is driving to the paint, whoever the hell's in the corner guarding Zach Edey is dropping to the paint to help with that Giannis layup. His ass is not sitting out there on Zach Edey. No way.
Well, also Zach Edey is kind of just a salary filler, to be honest. But I kind of just threw him in there because Brook Lopez is getting a little bit older. We don't know what exactly is going on with Bobby Portis. Obviously, this would be next year, but I think the little bit of explosiveness that Ja Morant has would kind of rejuvenate this Bucks team and maybe light a fire under some of the players' asses. Respectfully,
I'm trying to see how many threes he's hit. 15. He's made 15 this season.
Is that
something you're guarding?
How many has he taken?
Let's see. 3-point attempt. He give me a second. I wasn't expecting to have to pull a Zach Edey 3-point attempt up in the middle of the podcast today. I was just not ready for this.
Sometimes you just gotta hit him with the unexpected.
Okay. This is the whole. I'm trying to see the whole season, buddy, not the whole. I don't know. Can't tell you because I don't know. I'm trying to pull it up now, but it is taking its damn time. That's for sure. Anyway, keep going.
But no, I just I also think getting Ja Morant is going to inject a little youth into the team, which is something that they kind of need badly. Let's be honest. This entire team is getting a little up there in age, so having a little bit of youth that they can kind of look forward to
They
would
have
be
Kyle
a
Kuzma now.
massive help. Oh,
I mean,
okay.
he's younger than Chris Middleton.
Okay.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong. I can't say you're wrong
And
because you're not.
hey, I'm just saying. He's 15 for 43 this season. Zach Edey is from
35%?
three. Are you sure?
30,
Is that 35%? Are you sure about that, buddy?
349.
Oh, it is. You're right. I still ain't guarding that. I'm sorry. I'm not guarding a Zach Edey three. I'm just not doing it, bro.
Hey,
I'm not doing it.
but you also got to figure it's going to be an entire offseason, so he might get that. He might, next season, he might be taking, 3 threes a game, and he's hitting, 1.5 of them. You never
I'm
know.
not going to say you're wrong, but I just disagree.
Hey,
I mean,
I can see your point into not liking the Zach Edey next to
yeah.
Giannis. I can 100% see that, but it's more of just it was more of just a salary
No,
filler.
we're getting hyped up on this. We should be talking about the Dame and Ja Morant thing.
Yeah.
The Ja Morant pairing, but also I still the spacing just overall gets worse with this trade for Giannis and the Bucks because Ja Morant's just not the 3-point shooter that Damian Lillard is, and I mean he does. Like I said, he's younger, more athletic. Both are not good on the defensive side of the ball, so that's a whatever. That's kind of a wash either way. Um, it would be interesting. Again, I don't know how they would fit in space together because Ja Morant is a guy that's trying to backdoor it. He would have the ball more in this system, I think, because the ball primarily sticks in Dame and Giannis' hands now, and Kyle Kuzma now. So he would definitely he would have a higher usage rate probably. Dame on the Grizzlies, I think he would be okay. I think he would fit more. I definitely think he would fit that being able to kind of spot up and shoot sometimes, but also have the ball handling ability and the passing. And one thing about Dame is that you get him a good pick and roll center. Yusuf Nurkic when he was still good was a pick and roll smart passer out of the pick and roll, and that's when Dame was kind of at his best. And you give him I guess at that point in time it would be like Jaren Jackson, it would be like Brandon Clark and stuff like that, and Steven Adams. No, Steven Adams is no longer on the team. He's on the Rockets now. But but you would give him better screen and rollers and screen and popping with the Jaren Jackson. I think I honestly like to trade more for the Grizzlies than I do the Bucks. Just because I think Dame might kind of fit the kind of offense they're running better.
I mean, what realistic 1 out of 10? What do you give it?
2.
Yeah, that's what I was going for this one.
My first trade is Ja Morant and John Conchar for salary filler going to the Orlando Magic for Cole Anthony, Wendell Carter Jr., Jet Howard, and a 2027 first round pick. Maybe instead of a Jet Howard, it's an Anthony Black type of deal, just for a young point guard versus a Jet Howard who hasn't really done much. But I see it as the Magic desperately need a guard because Jalen Suggs has been injured for a long time. KCP can't really shoot the ball. I think they would again. I don't know if he really fits the kind of vibe they need because they desperately need to learn how to shoot the ball because they just can't. They're dead last in 3-point percentage, and Ja Morant's not exactly a knockdown shooter. But he would just command so much more attention that I think would make it easier for Apollo and make it easier for Franz Wagner. And I don't know. I just think they need to swing for this. The Magic need to swing for the fences. I think realistically, a Trae Young is more likely than a Ja Morant for the Magic. I think Trae Young and the Magic team would actually be pretty cool. Doesn't really help, but they have pretty good defense around, so I don't think that's an issue. But he would definitely. I mean, Trae Young. If you can't say anything about Trae Young, he always commands a good offense. He's just an offensive engine, and a team that is dead last in offense and 3-point shooting, he would 100% help that. But Ja Morant would just bring him a dynamic guard that would just help Paolo and Franz. I mean, just take pressure off of them. Again, defensively, you're not getting much there. But Wendell Carter just kind of exists. He doesn't really do much. Jet Howard doesn't really get a lot of play. You move up a 2027 first round pick. I think that's a decent value for the Grizzlies to get back. You get a 2027 first round pick. It might be in the 20s. You get a young prospect and a young wing in Jet Howard. You might do something with Wendell Carter. I don't know what you do with him. You just kind of maybe you reflip him in the offseason. Like, well, obviously this is going to be an offseason trade because it's past the deadline. Maybe like you could get a third team involved that'll take Wendell Carter for some salary filler or something. And Cole Anthony, I mean, he does have 3 years on his deal. It'll be 2 at the offseason. So I don't know what you want to do with that, but maybe he can just get some play time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I actually have the Magic doing a trade too. I gotta pull it back up here.
Okay.
Okay. But no, I have Ja Morant going to the Magic. There was a little bit of I'm trying to think. Was this the one? No, this was not the one. But no. Anyways, no, I like the fit of. Shouldn't say like the fit, but I like Ja Morant going to the Magic. In my trade, I have Ja Morant going to the Magic for KCP, Cole Anthony, and a 2027 first rounder.
Okay. You just went the KCP route.
Yep.
I just figured they might be more intrigued to the young talent of a Jet Howard or Anthony Black versus a KCP who just simply can't shoot the ball anymore. But I think KCP, if he's able to learn to shoot again, would be a better plug and play fit right now for the Grizzlies.
They would, and then like obviously Cole Anthony gives them another serviceable guard because I know they already have Scottie Pippen Jr., who's been getting some good minutes in the backup and I think starting a couple games this season for him. So shout out to him. But no, I just think bringing Cole Anthony, another younger point guard, to kind of just find your guy to be your point guard between him and Scottie Pippen Jr. But I mean, honestly, trades were kind of similar for that one.
Yeah, no, that's good. Okay, I guess that's technically your second one. So I'll go ahead and give my second one. This is Ja Morant going to Houston. This is Houston getting their number one. And it's going to be Dillon Brooks and Reed Sheppard.
Ooh.
So I look at that as the Grizzlies get a young point guard in a Reed Sheppard who, I mean, again, like you said, you have Scottie Pippen Jr. Hopefully you can get Reed Sheppard some play time. If not, you can send him to the G League. That's where he spent a lot of time this year anyway. Because the Grizzlies just have like 10, 12 players in their rotation anyway. They just play a lot of people. But I think it's a good spot for him to be able to come off screens, catch and shoot, spot up, and that kind of thing. Because we know from college Reed Sheppard's a good 3-point shooter. Dillon Brooks, I mean, it's fun. This is him going back to Memphis. I don't know if that's like something to be interested in, but like a Grizzlies team, just bring back a defensive tenacity wing that's just like he's going to get in people's faces. He's going to get in their heads. He's going to play good defense, and Memphis is built on defense. So, yeah,
absolutely, I don't hate it at all.
I just don't know if I don't know if they'd want Dillon Brooks back honestly at this point in time.
Yeah,
like with Jalen Wells and Vince Williams, they have their wings. They're young wings. They might look at the 3 years of, or I guess it'll be 2 years at that point in time of Dillon Brooks and be like, "Nah, we're good, bro." I don't blame him.
Dillon Brooks was a menace.
He still is, man. He still is.
He's a menace. Whether it's good or bad, that is up to you. But
I'm interested in your final trade.
My final trade for Ja Morant involves the Miami Heat.
Mine does too.
I have Miami Heat sending Terry Rozier, Andrew Wiggins, who if you do it in I think it's Fesbo trade, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Fansbo, it does not go through. That's because Andrew Wiggins cannot be traded until April 2nd. So,
yes. But these trades will be in the off season anyway. So
yes.
Yeah.
So we're good. Just so anyone doesn't just plug these in and be like, "Hey, that doesn't work." Calm down.
Yeah. Yep.
It's for later on. Anyways, Terry Rozier, Andrew Wiggins, and then I was torn between 1 first rounder, 2 first rounders. I'm gonna go with the 2025 Warriors top 10 protected first rounder for Ja Morant and Zach Edey.
Okay. Bro, you just like throwing Zach Edey in there. See, my trade was Ja Morant going to the Heat for Andrew Wiggins, Duncan Robinson, and a 2029 first round pick.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was like I said, I was debating between the 2025 they just got from the Warriors that's top 10 protected, or the 2029 first rounder because you can't trade the 2028 first rounder because the
siphon.
Yeah.
I was thinking about putting Terry Rozier in this trade, but I'm like, Memphis does not want to touch Terry Rozier with a 10-foot pole. Like, he's just not good at basketball. Like, that was my reasoning with it. I mean, like, I'm sure the Heat would love to get off of Terry Rozier for Ja Morant, But I guess in my mind, I was like, you get him a defensive wing and Andrew Wiggins. You give him a shooter, a guy that can just shoot the ball, get Duncan Robinson, and a 2029 first round pick. You don't know what the team looks like by then. I mean, you probably still at that point will have Morant, Bam Adebayo, and Tyler Hero, but there's always a possibility that one or two of them could be gone. So that was my reason, but I want to hear yours.
I mean, it's kind of like the same thing. Andrew Wiggins gets you a guy that can play defense, shoot the ball, basically do what Andrew Wiggins does, what he's been known for, what, he helped the 2022 Warriors do. Obviously, it's not the 2022 Andrew Wiggins, but he's still pretty damn good. Terry Rozier was more of a just, okay, they're going to have maybe a little bit of a hole at that point guard. I know they have Scottie Pippen Jr., like I said before. They also have, I can't think of the other kid's name.
I don't know what position.
Jaden Wells. I think
Jalen Wells.
Jalen Wells. They do have him, but I think bringing in Terry Rozier gives them a little bit of competition. I know Rozier has not been playing the best basketball the past year or so, but it gives them a little bit of competition. And then on the other side, bringing in Zach.
They cut his ass before they play him over Jalen Wells.
And then on the other side, obviously Ja Morant, and then for Zach Edey, I know they have Bam Adebayo, they have Khalil Ware, which they just drafted this year. I know Hayward Highsmith can drop down and play the 4, but I think bringing in Edey brings another physical guy to where you can put him in at the center. You can kind of maybe put Khalil Ware at the power forward or put Bam at the power forward, and then let Bam just go out and just be a tenacious defender like we all know he can be.
Yeah, Bam's been running a lot of 4 recently with Khalil Ware at the 5 spot, and I think it has helped Bam unlock more defensive potential because he can be more of a roamer with a more of a rim protector back behind him. I just Bam Adebayo does not try to score the ball, and I don't understand it. Like Bam Adebayo will drive to the paint, he'll get hit and just stop and take a pull up midi or like a floater. Like this guy, he doesn't get to the paint for a center. If you watch Miami Heat play, he will get in to about 8 to 10 feet away and just put up a little floater. Just stop, get bumped, put up a floater, bump, and he can make them, but he's just not. He doesn't take. He's not aggressive. And this Miami Heat team desperately needs him to be aggressive.
Yes.
This is not a Bam Adebayo conversation. I know I turned it into one, but I do think kind of to your point of putting a Zach Edey, I think the more in space and more rangy you can make Bam Adebayo, the better it's going to be for him because it's obvious at this point in time you can't rely on him to be a rim protector and an offensive threat. It's let him roam on defense and then hone in on his offense. Kind of like what Giannis does nowadays. Giannis is a roaming free safety defender, but can then now be dominant on offense because he's not taking all the defensive work. You know what I mean? He's not doing all the, and that's with getting a Brook Lopez behind him. You know what I mean? I think Ja Morant on the Heat is definitely interesting. I don't know if he fits the Heat culture that Pat Riley has, but I mean that's neither here nor there. I'm not really worried about that kind of thing. Because I don't want Tyler Hero to be my starting point guard. He's been really, really good this season, but I think he's still at best in that secondary ball handler spot up kind of role on offense, where you have a guy like Ja Morant that just demands the ball, can run pick and rolls with a Bam Adebayo, with the Khalil Ware, with still I guess Zach Edey. I don't know how much playtime Zach Edey would even get because he's still just not good at basketball sometimes. So you know what I mean? But I think that's better pick and roll partners for Ja Morant that'll unlock more of what we saw a couple years ago from Ja Morant when he was All-Star, All-NBA, and let Tyler Hero again take back that this possession I'll bring the ball up the court, I'll make a play, but I can also stand here in the corner in the wing. I can get when Ja Morant drives and kicks out to me, I can be here to catch and shoot it. Again, you're going to lose some shooting in Duncan Robinson, one of the better 3-point shooters in the league, but I don't know. I think we both agree, like I said, that Ja Morant on the Heat could just maybe help unlock Bam Adebayo more, maybe help define Tyler Hero's role more. And Jaime Jaquez desperately needs another star there for him to be good. Jaime Jaquez was really good his rookie year with Jimmy Butler, and he's just not really ready for that bigger role. I think he's definitely a glue forward kind of thing. So maybe we'd see a better jump out of Jaime Jaquez if they get another star on the team that can kind of give him drive and kick shots in the corner.
Absolutely. And then with Tyler Hero, you also have that option for the off-ball screens. Yep. The off-ball action with him, have not like a Bam or someone set screen, have off-ball action to then get one of them open, whether it's, Bam Adebayo on a send an off-ball, he slips down, hit him with a little cut pass, he goes up for layup or a dunk, or, even then, a pick and pop. between Ja Morant and Bam Adebayo. Because if you get a
Hmm.
bigger center, you get a bigger guy, drops down, boop, let him take, the little, 15, 18-foot little mid range. I do believe Bam can hit threes. Am I right?
He, yeah, he can.
Yeah. But like that mid range game, I think if they can open that up a little bit more for him, like you said, like 10 feet out, 15 feet out from the
Well, I
basket.
need him. No, I need him to get to the paint. The problem is he's not getting to the paint. Bam needs to get to the paint because like his percentage of getting to the rim has dropped drastically from his rookie year to now. Like he just at this point in time, I think less than 30% of his shots come at the rim as a center. Like he doesn't get to the rim as a center. And like one thing about Ja Morant is he's a good passer. He's not like one of the best in the league, but he's a good passer. If you and Ja Morant run a pick and roll and he throws the lob up there, well, you're gonna go and get it. And I think him getting to the paint will create more rim pressure, but also allow the like I said the driving kick. But I think it'll let Bam get to the paint more because it's like you're like again he can hit those mid range. He's got the mid range game unlocked, and it would be even better with a Ja Morant attacking the paint because yeah, Bam can stop the mid range because you're probably gonna get two defenders crashing with Ja Morant where he can hit the mid range where he can hit pass out to somebody else. I just want Bam to like get
Level up.
to the basket. Like I just need him to get down there and just like I know he's not really this post guy, but damn, if you got a smaller guy on you, just put your shoulder into him and get the ball up into the basket. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, even playing that four position, there's a time or two where you might get switched on to the three, or you might just have
Mm-hmm.
an undersized four, and you can just take him to town, and you got to be able to do that. But no, I think honestly, I like Ja Morant going to the Magic, or Miami. I like those two.
Yeah.
Houston wouldn't be bad. I don't mind Houston. I think those three teams would be the ones for him to go.
I think the thing about the Rockets would just be like getting that guy because they just don't have the number one. I just don't. Sengun's good, but I just don't see him as that number one guy on a championship team. Is John Morant? I don't know. Like we've seen him into the win playoff series as the number one guy, but I think the Rockets have a lot of other issues right now. I don't think John Morant solves. Like they just can't shoot the three ball at all, and interior defense with Alperen Sengun is just always going to be an issue.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The Rockets are just one of those. Like you did the Bucks for a fun team. I did the Rockets for a fun team. But yeah, no, I think the Magic. I think the Heat would definitely be the Heat always are saying they don't want to go into a rebuild, and trading for Ja Morant keeps you from going into a rebuild. That's for sure.
Yeah. Hell yeah, it does. Especially if you can, if possible, get off a Rozier's contract and get Wiggins out of there.
Yeah.
And if you could keep that Warriors top 10 protected, because that's going to be around the teens probably, depending on what goes on, possibly around the teens.
Yeah. Well, before we get out of here, there's also like I mentioned earlier, the John Morant's not the only superstar potentially getting traded. Obviously, the Kevin Durant stuff, and from this is via ESPN. Kevin Durant is expected. My goodness, to be traded this offseason. The Mavericks have shown. I can't talk. The Mavericks have shown interest in pairing him with Kyrie and AD. The only problem is I have no idea what the Mavericks trade that's not just gutting their roster for Kevin Durant.
I think now I could be wrong, but I think outside of Kyrie and AD, the next two players that make the most money would be Clay and PJ Washington.
I think you're right.
And I think KD's making around 35 to 40, if I'm correct.
I'm putting into I'm putting it in right now to see what I can cook up really quick.
Okay.
Team 2 with the Mavericks. Go ahead and talk me through these trades while I do this.
Just the whole aspect of it, I just don't like it. Because like you said, you're going to have to gut the team. You're probably going to have to get rid of PJ Washington, who is arguably one of your better defenders on the team. Because he's kind of, at this point, kind of being forced to slide up and play that three and play on the perimeter a little bit more. But then also, like, Klay Thompson's not what he used to be. Let's just be honest here. But Klay Thompson can still shoot the three ball when needed. And then when you get into the bench, I mean, Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, you're going to want to keep both of them. It's just you're not. I doubt you're going to trade Max Christie, who you just got, who's been pretty damn good for you shooting the ball. I don't see what the Mavericks trade unless it's a combination of PJ Washington and Klay Thompson. But then I don't know if the Suns are going to want either of those players. Maybe a Clay, maybe. But then again, you just bring him in with like Bradley Beal, who's a little washed. I don't know. And then PJ, I don't know. It's tricky.
So,
Oh, what'd you cook up?
so this is the Suns aren't able to do this because they would take on 500,000 more, but that's as close as I could get. Like, there's no way it perfectly matches up unless, like, the NBA, the teams are able to kind of shift around like I can with Fanspo. They would have to give up Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Caleb Martin, Max Christie, Dwight Powell.
You're gutting two of your starters and two pieces off your bench.
And that's even if the Suns look at, and I mean, probably Max Christie, PJ Washington they would want, but Dwight Powell, no. Caleb Martin, probably not. Klay Thompson, no. Like, you have to give up so much to get Kevin Durant. Now it's like you have Kyrie, you have AD, you have KD. Anybody of that gets injured, you are done. You are absolutely done. You have nobody to step in.
Who's playing your two then?
It would be, oh God, who would even be at that point in time?
Because Kyrie would be your one. You have a question mark at the 2. KD would be the 3. AD would be the 4. And then probably Derek Lively would be the 5, with Daniel Gafford being your 6th man.
It would be Kyrie, Najee Marshall, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, Derek Lively, with a bench of Daniel Gafford, Dante Exum, Omax Prosper, Spencer Dinwiddie, Jaden Hart. Like,
I don't like that.
Well, Spencer Dinwiddie's a free agent anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Dante Exum's a free agent too, so they wouldn't be able to bring any of those guys back. So scratch what I said about Dinwiddie and Exum because they wouldn't even be back.
Yeah, no. So you're gutting your team. You're basically doing what the Suns did. For
you'd have a pretty sick starting 5.
Oh my God, yes.
After that would be awful.
Yeah, you better hope that nobody gets injured, and if someone does get injured, you're kind of screwed.
And they might look at that. The Suns might look at that and say, "No, take out this player. We want either Gafford or Lively because we don't have a center." You know what I mean? So you lose. You're like it's almost guaranteed. I didn't even think about it, but it's almost a guarantee you're losing Gafford or Lively if you do a Kevin Durant trade as well.
If you're the Mavs and you trade, which one you trade? I'd lean towards Gafford.
Yeah, like you just. I understand. Yeah. I have to give more room for growth with a Derek Lively versus Daniel Gafford. Daniel Gafford, the way he's kind of rejuvenated himself from like Washington and Chicago to where he is now is definitely cool. I remember, when you have your centers in 2K, you used to always we'd be in a party and be like, just don't Daniel Gafford again because he's ass. But yeah, I mean Daniel Gafford on the Suns would be kind of cool, but at that point in time, I'm under the impression of if you're trading Kevin Durant, you're trading Devin Booker too. You're moving on. I don't think you're getting anything for Bradley Beal, so you might just be stuck with Bradley Beal. But I don't see a reason. Like I understand Devin Booker might be a guy who wants to stay in Phoenix for his life. Like he wants to be a one-team guy. But like, you had the team of okay. So let's go back to the bubble. They go in an 8-0 run in the bubble, but they missed the play-in. They come back next season. They have Chris Paul, Devin Booker. I don't remember who the hell all was. DeAndre Ayton was on that team as well. Like they had a good team, right? Yeah. They get to the playoffs. They lose in the playoffs. They trade for Kevin Durant, and it's DeAndre Ayton was traded for Yusuf Nurkic. That was the first trade of it because they weren't sure the way DeAndre Ayton was playing. And at that point Nurkic was good, so they traded for Nurkic that fit better than what DeAndre Ayton was doing. They trade for Kevin Durant, and that's Mikal Bridges, that's Cam Johnson, that's a bunch of picks over the. Okay, so it's like at that point in time, you've already cut up a lot of your roster. You have Chris Paul, you have Devin Booker, you have Kevin Durant. It's like, okay, that's something, right? That they lose in the playoffs, or no, that team didn't even lose in the playoffs. They were actually what
8-0.
They only played like 8 games together or something like that.
They played 8 games and they were 8-0.
8-0. They trade Chris Paul to Washington for Bradley Beal, and that was the nail in the coffin. They was already making some weird moves before with trading. I mean, trading Ayton for Nurkic, I wasn't super mad at because Ayton. We talked about for years. Ayton didn't really fit.
Did they do? I swear I seen the graphic or the stat that it was Chris Paul, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton that were 8-0.
Okay, maybe it was, and then they traded Ayton after for Nurkic.
They might have. That's what I'm, like.
But it
It
was
might
all
have
in the
been
same
those
time,
four.
which was again at the time Nurkic was like still playing pretty decent. The way Ayton played just didn't really mesh with the rest of the guys, so it was like okay, but like the killer of it was trading Chris Paul for Bradley Beal.
Yes.
It threw everything off. It just made it like now you have three players that do similar things to different levels. They all kind of they're all like basically three of the same players, but one's just really like all time great. One's a really good all NBA, and one's just okay, like it's cool. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but you have three of the same kind of players, and it just threw them off so badly, and they lost all their first round picks. They have now aging stars. They're not a free agent destination. They have to hit on their draft picks. Ryan Dunn was really good to start the season. Now he barely touches the floor anymore. Like then you at the trade deadline this year, tell the world, hey, we're listening to phone calls for Kevin Durant, and then you don't trade him. So now Kevin Durant's like, well, what the fuck?
I
Maybe
want
I want
out.
to leave.
Yeah.
You guys are just gonna dangle me in trade rumors. Like I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. You know what I mean? Like it's just, you don't just dangle somebody like Kevin Durant in trade rumors and then not trade him. That's just like you don't do that. It's just weird. So you lose Kevin Durant. Okay, maybe they'll be like Devin Booker's our guy. We don't want to lose Devin Booker. We drafted him years ago. He's been here his whole career. But I just don't see a path forward for this Suns team because I don't think they have their own pick until like 2031.
Yeah. No, it's insane what they did. I think the nail in the coffin was trading Chris Paul, but I think having Chris Paul instead of Bradley Beal gives you like that true point guard, and I think Chris Paul with his playmaking alone could elevate the team even a little bit higher than what it was. Whether it was Ayton or Nurkic, or I believe now Nick Richards at the center
Yeah,
spot. So it's like
and Osa, the rookie.
yeah, it just Chris Paul could elevate this team. I'm not saying like elevate him a lot, but just he could give them that boost of that, that playmaker that is like eyes in the back of his head, that can see the cutter, that can see this, that can
Yeah,
orchestrate the offense you know, when KD or Devin Booker is not, getting the ball going up for a shot or doing their thing and working what they know how to do and what they can do, which is score the basketball.
it's just so weird to me that a team with Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant are bad. They're the 11th seed. They're 27-31. Like they're 4 games under 500 with again one all-time player, another guard that's probably going to end up being one of the all-time guards. Like you just and then again, Bradley Beal's a good player. Like he's not a bad player. He's a good player. He's just not worth the $50 million he's getting. But like you look outside of the three of them and it's like, oh, this team actually really sucks. Like this probably is one of the worst rosters in the NBA. They just happen to have two really great players on it.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty
It's
much.
yikes.
How different do you think the Suns look if they don't trade for Kevin Durant and they keep Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, and that whole deal?
So you're saying like Chris Paul, Booker, Bridges, Cam Johnson, Ayton.
Yeah, how different do you think it is today?
I still think
Because now you got to
that's
figure
a.
they do keep their draft picks now. They do have some of their draft picks back from the trades that they did.
I think they're definitely better than an 11 seed, but I think that team just lacks that one more punch. Because
Yeah,
like as good as Devin Booker is, I think having Kevin Durant like I think they do the Kevin Durant deal over again if they had the opportunity to. They don't do the Bradley Beal trade over again if they don't have. You know what I mean? Like I
yeah,
think that's the one trade they're like we do, and maybe it's the Nurkic trade too. Maybe like we don't do the Ayton and Nurkic trade, and we don't do the Bradley Beal trade. Like I think those are the two you're like, no, we're not doing. But I think I think trading for Kevin Durant's never a bad idea. Like
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you're getting one of the best players in the world, and you gave up. You gave up good players, but none even stacked close to what Kevin Durant is. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So like
yeah.
I think the Kevin Durant trade was definitely something I would do 10 times over. I just wouldn't do the other two trades.
I don't know why they did the Bradley Beal trade.
I mean they I guess they thought just talent over fit, but
I
it's
mean,
not working out that way.
yeah, no, it comes to a point where you just got to look at what you have and bringing in Bradley Beal. Like you said, three guys with similar, with what they
Like play
do so
styles.
similar. Yes, play
Yeah.
style so similar. You got to just like kind of be like, okay, this might not work. This is probably not going to work. Now the Nurkic for Ayton trade, I can kind of understand
Mm-hmm.
because they were kind of looking at him like, okay, well Ayton's not really fitting what we're doing. Let's try and get him off, get him out of here. So then they bring in Nurkic. That one is kind of like iffy, but like the
Mm-hmm.
Beal trade, hindsight's 2020. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's a bummer over there in Phoenix. I don't know what the hell they're gonna do. I have no idea. They're 2-8 in their last 10. It just, I don't know. Uh,
It's a shit show in
uh,
Arizona.
it is. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Oh, we do have to talk about Podcast P taking a break until the end of the season because Paul George. You know what? No. I'm gonna get this quote. I'm gonna get this quote
What is he finally
because
locking in?
the quote is hilarious. Because I'll read it for you. I'll read it for you.
Okay, because
Um.
I haven't. The
Okay.
only thing I've heard about it was that I got a notification saying that Podcast P was taking a break.
Right.
Did not
So
hear why.
I usually listen to Podcast B just because I'm always curious. Like he has guests, so I'm just curious to hear. And this episode that I listened to, it was the one that he just had Dwight Howard on. But I didn't listen to the end of it. I got busy at work. But he said at the end of the episode, he said, Paul George says, "It's no secret this season is up to this point, man. It hasn't been what we envisioned. I know my goal when I first signed with Philadelphia was to bring a championship to these amazing fans here. I still remain positive about that, and that is still the case and where I'm coming from. With that being said, though, I want to let the Podcast P family know that after today's episode with Dwight, I plan to take a break from the pod just to focus on getting my body right, getting mentally right, and help the squad make a push toward our goal to finish the season and give ourselves a chance to be in contention to compete for a championship. I won't front. The desire to get back to shooting in person with my guys as well is the forefront of, this hiatus as well." And he was talking about like the other two guys on this podcast. He wants to get back in podcast, like in-person podcast.
Yeah.
I look forward to the three of us being back together and doing this as we once started this. So we'll be back on that note. Be sure to lock in with us because we got some big things in store in our future. In the meantime, y'all be easy from Podcast P. And go ahead.
You want to win a championship?
That's the part of the quote that everybody's kind of catching. Like,
sir, you got to get into at least the play-in before you talk about trying to win a championship. You're the freaking 12 seed now. I mean,
I
you're
think
only
the 11 seed, 11 or 12.
No, I'm looking at it now. They're the 12 seed. They're 2.5 games back of Chicago.
Wow.
You're talking about a championship. You got to actually get into the play-in, and then even that. Let's see. You're like 11.5 games behind Detroit for the 6th seed.
They ain't getting that. No way.
No,
they're not getting out of play-in.
No, I don't even know if they're going to get in the play-in.
Yeah, well, very fair.
I mean, like, obviously, I could see Chicago, throwing up a couple dumpster fires. Same thing with the Nets, and Philly sneaks in there, but then you got to play probably Miami first round.
Well, the problem is that Chicago keeps losing, but so do the 76ers. They aren't winning the games. Like they're not. Chicago was trying to hand them this 10 seed, and they themselves fell out of it, and Brooklyn took it because the 76ers can't win games. They cannot win games, and it's like I understand. Like, yes, he signed to Philly because he thought the idea of Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, and Joel Embiid would win a championship. I think we all understood that, like, that's a possibility. But this team is really bad. This team is really, really bad. There's real conversation that Joel Embiid should just be shut down for the rest of the season, have his surgery he needs to have, and just move on to next year, man. The team is not good.
You want to hear a crazy stat?
Okay.
The 76ers, the last 10 games, like out of every team in the NBA, the 76ers have the worst 10-game stretch in the league right now.
Yeah, they're on like an 8-game losing streak.
They're 1-9. The closest team is the Hornets at 2-8. And Phoenix at 2-8. Like, you are 1-9 your last 10 games. You're telling me you're gonna lock in? Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now.
It's like 2 months too late for them to be locking in for this season.
Yeah, no. Like you said, we've talked about it before, and I seen some stuff about Joel Embiid trying to find like other remedies for his knee or like trying to find alternative things to surgery. At the end of the day, you are like the 12 seed. You may be lucky to get into the play-in, but you're not making a push into the playoffs. Just stop.
Just pack it in. Just pack it in
for the rest of the season. Go get the surgery, do whatever, heal up, and just get ready for next year. And hopefully, by the time next year comes around, he's back to that 35, 12, and 6 Embiid that we've seen at the beginning of last season.
Yeah, it's something. I don't know. But I just thought that was funny. The championship coach is really, really funny. But
one last thing before we go. I have usually have ESPN on the TV while I'm recording, so if anything breaks, I can kind of just see it up on the screen. But I was watching Sports Center, right? Kendrick Perkins named his top three, so like the big threes, his top three big threes in the NBA right now. All right. Number one was Tatum, Brown, and Porzingis.
That's very top heavy. That's very.
Number two, I think it was KP. It could have been Derek White, but I think it was Tatum, Brown, and KP. Number two was LeBron, Doncic, and Reeves.
Okay.
And then at number three, it was the Nuggets. I know Murray and it's probably Murray, Gordon Porter Jr. and Jokic.
Yeah, probably MPJ this season.
Probably. Interesting takes, Big Perk.
I mean, I don't think it's bad. I mean, yeah. I don't know. Anyway,
but I don't think this. I'm a Celtics fan. I don't think Celtics.
Oh, shut the fuck up. All right. Anyway, this
Whoa,
is our
come on, man.
Timeout
What
with
the
J&G.
hell?
This man's just being. He's just saying shit for the podcast. He knows Brown and Tatum are like that.
Oh yeah.
We appreciate you for watching this episode of Timeout with J&G, and we will be back next Thursday. Peace.